Hello everyone, welcome to Astana. Halfway has passed at the FIDE World Chess Championship match and there are so many questions in chess public. So in this video, I have interviewed CEO of FIDE and the director of the tournament, Emil Sitowski. Emil, we are reaching the halfway in the match as the main person responsible for this event. Are you satisfied with how the things are going so far?
Yes, I'm satisfied with the way it's going. It's an extremely exciting event. We see a lot of tension, a lot of drama unfolding on the chessboard, not only because of the number of decisive games, which is extremely high, 4 out of 6, but also the way they play the whole situation unleashes, it's like very open fight. Even the draws, I always claim that draw per se is also, it can be exciting, and the draws here is also very, very interesting games. I can see even people who were not intending to follow this match following now it's very, very closely. And we heard from the top players like Aronian and Giri and so on, praising the level, not necessarily the chess level, but the level of entire chess drama, because World Championship match is about the event, not necessarily the quality of standalone games. Because if you think about it, they could play these great games in other tournaments, but it's the very essence of it that it's World Championship match. It's a unique event, and the way it goes, it's also pretty unique.
What qualities would you highlight from Astana as the host city for the World Championship match?
I think Kazakhstan is one of the best places to hold such a match. First of all, due to participants, it's ideally situated between the countries players come from. It's also very convenient from time zone perspective from fans from these countries. But otherwise, I'd single out a thriving chess life in the country. They have very strong women team, but they have also very strong junior players. And there is a lot of kids studying chess, whether in chess schools or in public schools, and we see a lot of interest for the event. I think it's good to have World Championship here. It's not our first major event in Kazakhstan. We stage World Rapid and Blitz, prior to that Women's Grand Prix. I think we're going to have more events in Kazakhstan as well in the future. In general, I'm very happy with the level of organization here and the way how it is taken by the local public.
From fans to top players, everybody has a different opinion on how the World Championship title should be decided. Fast time control, more games, different qualification paths. How does the FIDE leadership cope with all that contradictory input?
Well, in the chess world, traditionally people have different opinion about what the best format is, whether it's about a qualifier or about the match itself. I'm quite proud about the fact that we are in constant touch with all the top players, not only world champion or challenger. It's very important to hear top players, what their opinion is, what do they find is a zeitgeist now, but also how it works along with the tradition, because it's very important not to try, to rush things artificially, to see how it's possible to improve, but not necessarily to change overnight everything. I think World Championship match is one thing which retains its very high level, very high prestige, and no wonder that we have been managing to secure very high finding for the World Championship cycle altogether, not only for the World Championship match. So we will keep polling players, we will keep considering inside FIDE as well what are the options, but I think so far we are managing quite well to be, let's say, to monitor what changes might be needed and to adjust here and there. As you know, we changed the format from 12 games to 14 games. It was in 2021. We increased the prize fund, which was 1 million and raised to 2 million. And in general, I think we will keep doing this job. Nothing is fixed even for the next cycle, but for this cycle, I think it was pretty decent choice.
There was a rest day after 6th game, and there will be another one after the 7th game. Can you please explain this, why it is so many rest days?
Well, the logic behind rest days after game number 6, but also after game number 7, has 2 points. One being for the fact that they typically play 2 games rest day, 2 games rest day, which leads to a situation that a certain player always has white or always has black in the day after the rest day. So it means that the player can prepare particularly for one column. So it's we didn't know in advance who would that be, but it's disbalanced. I think it was noted quite a few times before. I remember Kasparov was complaining about that during the match with Kramnik in 2000, and it's really becoming an issue. Especially, we didn't expect it to be that much of an issue, but especially if you notice that both players are having problems facing back, so it's a bit more unfair if one player has this advantage or disadvantage. So it would be balanced now. And another second point that we wanted to have a final game and possible tiebreak on Saturday and Sunday, which is where the most of audience is. So we eliminated the rest day there, so we don't play like Friday game 14, then day off, and then tiebreak. We play Saturday game 14, and then on Sunday we play a tiebreak if needed. So it didn't increase actually the number of rest days. It just changed, where it was located, and it was fair to put it in the middle, both for reversing colors, but not reversing, for reversing days to prepare, and as well to secure the exciting weekend of the top level chess.
A novelty in this match has been the cameras in the players' rest lounge. Most of the feedback was positive, but there was also a bit of controversy. After 6 games, what's the balance?
Well, I think, of course, if players would have spent 20 minutes in the lounge like happened in the first day, it would be too much. Now I think the situation is not as dramatic, so it's not a great problem. I see a reason why some people weren't happy, and indeed you need some sort of an action, and it's not good when in a sport event you have no player over the table for 15 minutes or 20 minutes. So we actually think how to balance it, maybe to limit a number of minutes or reasons why player can be absent and not be over the table, just staying in his room. Obviously there's other reasons why they may need to be out, but typically we do not expect the player to sit in his lounge and to think over his moves, just watch it on the monitor. It's no good, and but we see that it doesn't happen a lot. So it was some issue, but I would say it was rather minor.
What other changes can we expect in the World Championship cycle in the next future?
Well, changes are always discussed. We even haven't formalized the system for time control for the candidates 2024. But one change I can tell you is that the candidates 2024 and women's candidates 2024 will be played together in Toronto, Canada in April 2024. I think it's going to be exciting. Once again, it's always a matter which we tackle very responsibly, because it is very simple to take and approve some new regulations, but we never take it before consulting players, before overviewing the situation. We've seen now, at least for the World Championship match, that the audience like what they see. All these talks, which were previously, classic match is boring, too many draws and so on, it simply doesn't materialize. And I always said that the cases, even if you refer to Carlsen-Caruana match, which was all draws, some games, or even most games, were pretty exciting there. Here we see it even more. So it's not like we claim that it has to be one way. But I would say that 1, 2, or some events which may be not as attractive is not a reason to ruin the whole system, tradition and so on. So we always need to keep this balance. I think with the World Championship match, we will obviously listen to suggestions of the top players, including Magnus as well. But we will not rush with the decisions. We need carefully to review, because changing something big way, not altering from 12 games to 14, but changing the format, it requires real proper, let's say, consideration how it would impact. We need to try and envisage. It's also not clear if we have to go necessarily with the, let's say, new modern trend, or we have to be contrarians and to stick to something that made chess great. So I think it's always about the balance. Never just to stick to something because it is a tradition, but also never to follow the trend just because it's following a trend.
Emil, you mentioned about the women chess tournaments too. Up next is the Women's World Chess Championship match, which will be split between 2 largest cities in the world. How to make use of such opportunity?
The Women's World Championship match will take place in July. It will be played in China, in two biggest cities in China, Shanghai and Chongqing. I think it's going to be an exciting match. Of course, for the outside world, the fact that both players are Chinese may play a role. And let's say if you are cheering for your country women, it's different, right? But I think still it's going to be an exciting event, not only because both players are just prove to be great players and reach there. I think in general we have to, if we are serious about changing the attitude, we have to promote also the women's event and not to say, okay, it's in China and only Chinese spectators would be excited and all the rest would not be. So as FIDE, it's our responsibility to start promoting it in advance. We already work together with Chinese Chess Association to make it better and to promote in advance, to have dedicated broadcast starting to work even already from now. With all the related activities, and I think it's going to be an event which would attract a lot of eyeballs, and not only in China. In particular, things that we have to do, we have come a long way from since 5 years when we started this work in increasing prize funds for women competitions, in making more tournaments, because we basically, there was no women's candidates before that. The Women's Grand Prix discontinued and we relaunched it, so we will keep doing that. We're happy to notice the awareness from many countries and federations who wish to have the Women's Grand Prix series. So for the next series, 2024-25, we basically have already 4 organizers secured, which never happened in past. You either didn't have a series or had it in the last moment. So we have it basically secured at this point. And in general, we could do more, and we are doing more. But we also expect people to, to appreciate the fact that women chess players deserve maybe more attention, more following. We're also going to work with women players themselves, because what we see is that we need more role models to be publicly visible, maybe as a, public figures who are giving more interviews, streaming, maybe telling more about their life, how they prepare for the tournaments, how their career works. Because nowadays you know a lot about top players, you know a lot about Magnus, you know a lot about Ian, but you wouldn't know a lot about half of top women players, and that should be changed. And we are currently working in this direction as well.
Thank you very much.